This is crazy. If you ever want to use like 3D characters in your videos, you've got to check this out. Hey, welcome to the channel. I'm the Ryan McDowell, and in this video, I'm gonna show you how I turned Jenna into this cute little alien exploring the California super bloom using Wonder Studio by Wonder Dynamics. As a filmmaker, I would love to have a full production crew on every project. If you have an art department, if you have a full camera department, if you have a full effects department, it makes your project better. But especially for things that I'm doing by myself and funding myself, I don't get to work with the full team that I'd want to. And so things that I don't do well, I often just put on a shelf to collect dust. But I'd always wish that there was like a cheat code. And now there kind of is. Enter Wonder Studio. Ryan, what's Wonder Studio? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Wonder Studio is a program by Wonder Dynamics that makes animating 3D characters significantly quicker and easier. Basically how it works is you shoot a scene with a live action, real person actor, you plug it into Wonder Studio, and then you select that actor and you pick what 3D character you want to replace that actor with, and it kind of does the rest. Is it perfect? It's interesting. Intrigue. To test it out, I created a 1-minute short film about an alien who sees the California super bloom from space and wants to come down and check it out. I feel like there's all these articles about like, California super bloom can be seen from space. The one question that I wanted to answer is, with Wonder Studio, can I, by myself, make a project with a 3D character? Because if I can, I'll make those. I don't know what I'll do. First off, I needed to find some flowers. I live in California and we've had an incredible amount of rain this year. And with all this moisture, it created this phenomenon that happens, every few years called the super bloom, which means millions and millions and millions of wildflowers all bloom at the same time. And if you haven't seen it, it's pretty spectacular. Places like this, or kind of like this, or like this. Basically anywhere where the Instagram goddesses go to frolic for attention every spring. We had to settle for some maybe super bloom sidekicks that were a little closer, but we found some pretty dense patches of lupine, which is like a purple flower to shoot in, and looked pretty neat. So we had our spot. The morning of the shoot, we got up before the birds and hiked to our super bloom location. We tried a different trailhead yesterday and it was like ankle deep in mud, so pretty happy it's dry today. It was foggy, it was windy, it was cold, and it was extraordinarily beautiful. This rolling fog with the sun blasting through looked really, really neat. Got a pretty big variety of shots of Jenna doing her best impression of an alien seeing flowers for the first time. We knew we were gonna be replacing Jenna with like the alien 3D model, so we didn't put a huge amount of thought into wardrobe and hair and makeup. In retrospect, I kind of wish we would have, because it was so interesting looking up there that day that if we had put more thought into the pre-effects shots, they would have been neat shots on their own. We could have done some really beautiful portrait shots up there. That said, we also could have planned a wardrobe better for the effects. If we would do it again, we would have Jenna maybe in a swim cap or something very tight covering all of her hair. And she was wearing something that wasn't super baggy, but the more form-fitting and clean the lines are around your actor, the better the results are gonna be. So now that we have our shots of Jenna, I wanna show you how incredibly easy it is to use Wonder Studio. So first you create a new project, and then you upload your clips. I've already uploaded some that you can see here. Then you select what clip you wanna add a character to. Drag that in. Then it'll ask you what actors you want to replace with a 3D character. So you scan your frame for actors, beep, bop, boop, and see it sees Jenna here. So we're gonna go ahead and click on Jenna and we wanna replace her. Then you click on the 3D character that you wanna replace your actor with. And they have a handful of characters that anyone can use, but you can also upload your own modeled character. I would love to create my own custom 3D character that I could use as maybe my like alter ego in videos. I think I'd be like a playful dinosaur or like a dopey bear or something. I think like kind of like a fun but powerful animal. I guess that says something about how I see myself. No. For this project, I knew we would be using the character Sam, which Wonder Dynamic provides, because our story was based around Sam. It's about this little alien dude that could come down from space and see the super balloon. Then ask you for a bunch of options of what you want, Wonder Dynamic Studio to do. For now, I'm just concerned with the final scene of my character in the scene. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit start processing. It's incredible. That's all you have to do. Just like, boom, done. And now that process of it, doing its whole magic and then rendering out a video does take a bit of time. I think for maybe like a 5 or 6 second clip, it took maybe an hour. There's probably ways to get a faster time, but it does take a while. The most important thing, does it work? Here is the clip that we plugged in. Here is the clip that it gave us. Like, it's pretty cool. If someone had given me a 3D character, I could not have rigged it or done the motion capture myself to get this result. That said, there are some severe limitations. Where it starts to struggle are some of the more shots that you might consider, I hate the word cinematic, but more cinematic type things, type shots. So if you put things in the foreground, so you obscure the foreground in some way, it kind of struggles having the character cleanly. If the character enters or exits the frame, sometimes it has trouble with those entry and exit points. Like we talked about earlier, having hair flyaways or loose clothing, it can struggle to pick up those exactly and replace them in the background. Also, this project included flowers and grass and fog and like a lot of organic textures, which are generally pretty hard to generate in animation. So we gave it a big challenge, right? But it did not handle those things all that well. If you look at where it tried to replace the background, instead of having realistic looking flowers, it just kind of blurs them into purple. It looks almost like this alien has some sort of force field around it. So it kind of works in a way for this project, but it's not perfect, right? Another thing that's very tough is if characters are crossing their arms or limbs or extremities of some kind, it doesn't do that interaction all that well. Or if it touches props, holding, moving, interacting with props is something that it can't really do quite yet either. And that's tough because those are a lot of movements that characters do, right? You want them to be able to hug other characters or hug themselves or hold things or move things. And so there's some really severe limitations at the moment, but what it allows you to do is incredible. I was able to make a 1-minute short film about an alien, which I probably wouldn't have been able to do without it. Is it gonna replace all VFX artists? No, of course not. Is it gonna replace some? I mean, maybe in some small circumstances. But if you're doing 3D character work for something like TV or movies or high-end commercials, this just isn't quite at that level yet. It's not fully gonna replace people, but it's a pretty neat tool. That was my nickname in high school, pretty neat tool. Before I show you the final alien video, if you liked this YouTube video, think about subscribing potentially. It would help me out a lot. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers this year, and every person counts. With your help, we'll get there. Here, without further ado, is the final alien video.
I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day. Daydream, I dream of you amid the flowers for a couple of hours. Such a beautiful day.